to admit it's getting better, a little better all the time. I have to admit it's getting better, it's getting better since you've been mine. Getting so much better all the time. It's getting better all the time.
Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is doing great. That was the Beatles, Getting Better. It is getting better. Yes, it certainly is. But why is it that every time I look at others' experiences, it always seems better than mine? Well, it's not necessarily one. I mean, of course, because you're trying to manifest it, it's an indication of where you're going. We'll get to that topic. But there's more to it, I think, than that as well. So I'm hoping to get you to kind of open up to the, oh, I didn't even think about it like that. Because it's kind of one of those moments, right? So obviously, yes, I'm trying to manifest this. This is getting closer. I see them experiencing it. Why aren't I? I will get there. I promise you. But first, big difference. Two people can experience the exact same situation. They can go side by side, dun, 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 all the way through the experience and have very, very different experiences with that, right? Now, example, me and my older brother and I, we're very, very similar, very kind of grumpy Gus when it comes to crowds and abundance of people and just all that stuff. Just generally, it's like, rather be any place other than where there's crowds. And in fact, if there's a crowd, say 10 miles over there, I'm probably not far enough away from that crowd in my current assessment. So him and I could go to Disneyland, side by side. Both him and I would have equal amounts of fun on every single ride. The experience of the ride would probably be equal across the board, every ride. But my brother's sheer dislike, disdain of crowds, of people, of standing in lines, just standing around in general, of waiting for other things, for waiting for people that maybe don't know what they're doing, right? Like, the level of things I could imagine what I would experience in line with him complaining the whole day about that experience of just waiting. Each ride, yeah, that was awesome. Ah, crap, another line. I can't believe we're going to wait. Right? My whole experience is different. I don't like people either. We're very similar in that regard, a lot of that stuff. But people in crowds anyway, right? But there is the whole people watching thing, and I get a big kick out of that. I have a lot of fun doing it. It's just something fun, whatever. But it's that thing. I focus on the aspect of it that's interesting, or some of the rides are interesting, or you can look around and see other people having fun, or you can talk to the person you're with, whatever. There's many ways to look at that experience that is not one that's like, oh, it sucks. Everywhere I look, there's people I just hate, right? You could be in a place that is going to be absolutely joyous for most everybody. And you'll be like the one person that's not happy because of what you're focusing on. So both people could be in the same place, happiest place on earth, yet not necessarily feeling the same level of happiness while there. How is that? Right? Like, there's two people in the exact same environment, in the exact same place, exact same way, side by side. I mean, as exact as you can be, but are having a very different experience. So our perception of what we're experiencing is based off of something, right? So in the case of my brother, he would just see nothing but the crowds. He would see nothing but the lines. He would see nothing but the exhaustion of standing around in the sun all day. Like the idea of another ride that's 45 seconds quickly becomes a calculation like, is that worth 60 minutes of my life? I don't care how much I paid. I paid $120. I'll pay you $120 to let me leave right now early. Like, that'd be like how my brother would roll. He'd be like, I don't even care about the money. It's not the money. This is ridiculous. Like, I can't stand this. And I, on the other hand, be like, my God, it's Disneyland, man. I haven't been here in like however long. This place is kind of fun. It's cool. It's expensive. It's stupid. There's a lot of lines. I agree. All of that. But it's cool. It's still pretty freaking fun. Even if you're standing in line, you just try to go like when it's not like that. So our experience, our reality is in a place where everything is existing right now. We are all in one giant Disneyland. Disneyland's a small microcosm of how cool life can be in reality. Like, we can do things that are amazing, like just the experiences we can have, the level of love we can have, the touching moments you can have, the holding your child for your first time moments you can have, like the things that can happen in your life that are so amazing. So a lot of us are trying to manifest things. We're trying to move in a certain direction. Here's where I'm trying to tie it back together. And we're seeing other people that are having experiences, certainly, yes. So, yes, part of why you're seeing that is the fact that you're manifesting it, certainly. The other aspect of it, you never know what they're going through to get where they're at that moment. Two, again, it's just the fact that it indicates that mechanism's kind of turned on within you. You're thinking about it. You're seeing it. It's active. It's something that keeps popping up. Your perception, I guess, of a reality is really, I think, key. And I think that's one of the things that's like important to take away from this is how we choose to look at things. Are we just standing in lines everywhere we go? Or are we finding something interesting to make the experience worthwhile, to make what we're going through useful? Are we finding anything redeeming at all in life? Because living that way, it helps. It really helps in the manifestation game, because a lot of times that's where you're getting your little keynotes. Your little keynote speakers pop up and be like, it's insecurity. And you're like, damn, I didn't realize. I was like, oh, yeah. So that guy's like looking at you, and you totally catch yourself being like that jealous dude. And you're like, you got to have more confidence in that, right? Like, I don't know, just for an example. It's a perception thing, whatever. We all have our moments. We all have our ways of seeing things a little different. The filters, whatever it is that we're talking about. We all have our different takes. But what you're manifesting is happening. There's rules. There's things that are in place. It's what you think, what you say, what you do. It's what you're thinking about. It's what you're creating. More of that. The more you focus on whatever, the more of that stuff you see. Like maybe it's some negative thing in the news. Well, you keep seeing more of it in the news. You keep watching the news more because you're like, is there more of that going on? You're like, oh my God, there's more of it. I watched it on 2 different channels. They were talking about the same story. No way. Right? Like, I keep looking for it, and there it is. What are you looking for? And if you're looking for love and suddenly someone's showing up in your life that's not you, but someone that's in love, well, yeah, that's rad. It's showing you. You're creating it. You're experiencing it. You're bringing it into your reality. It's becoming more and more real. I know a lot of this seems a little airy-fairy, a little, I guess they'd say Pollyanna, right? Like, it's very of that, like, just think good thoughts and everything's better. Yeah, maybe that's not true, but maybe it is. Is there a better way to think about it? I guess the last example I'll leave you with, as I've rambled, but I still think it's an awesome topic, how we look at things. It reminds me of a first date, and it's just because this is where the mental image in my mind hit me, and probably where I experienced this concept first, and just this is what I did. I got out of the truck. It was my first date with a woman that I ended up spending a number of years with. Very interesting spiritual growth. This is a very life-changing relationship, hugely so. Very traumatizing as well, but life-changing, just in every way, shape, and form. It's awesome. And I stepped out for our first date, got out of my truck, stepped onto the grass to go to her front door. She was downstairs, and it was just a dit-dit-dit, and had to walk across this tiny strip of grass. I don't know, as big as the camera. It was a number of feet, 3 feet, probably about a meter, a little over a meter, 1.5 meters at best width, right? And I managed to step on the one dog poop out there, right there in front of her house. Probably her dog, by the way. Right out there in front of her house, dog, and my shoes, right out on the date. Now, I can be pissed. I can get angry. I can look at the fact that what's happening right now is an absolute chaotic moment. I can say this is us pushed out. I can be angry in every way, shape, and form. But none of those things change the reality of what just happened. Okay, if it's me pushed out, which it probably is in some way, shape, or form, I don't disagree, but it's more of an issue of the energy, the bond, who knows? There's a number of ways it can go other than I have to have stepping on dog poop right now because I'm a dog poop person, and that's what I needed to, right? It's not so much that as much as the experience with the person. I mean, it was my first date. It was really cool. It was just a funny way, and really, if I look at it in hindsight, that's kind of what the whole situation was, just like a big giant turd. But it was, it was what it was. It was great, and I learned a lot of things. But stepped on it, had to just scrape it off, move forward, and that was that. Like, I mean, I think I even rubbed it in the grass a little, try to get it out. I think I was wearing shoes that I could at least verify that there was no longer any poop present. But you just move on. You accept it and you go, and you don't get focused and hung up and let it ruin your day. It's like, yeah, I stepped in dog poop. I dealt with it, and I'm moving forward because I'm still going on this date, and I had a wonderful relationship with this individual, and I learned things that changed my life. Yes, it started with dog poop and pretty much ended in dog poop. But I ended up with the dog, and that dog was awesome. She probably saved my life. Probably saved my life. A little boxer, big boxer, really, but gorgeous dog. Loved her. Beautiful dog. So, again, how we choose to deal with the same situation. A lot of us have options. A lot of us have choices. A lot of us make choices. And these choices sometimes are not necessarily leading us where we're wanting to go. I don't know, I might have tricked you towards the end to hang out and learn a horrible soul lesson like that. I'm sorry. I know, that was wrong. It's Dan Radio Style. What can you do? Going out with a great song by a band that I was actually searching for a totally different song and found out it was a totally different band. But this is a great song by this band, and it's called Blue Oyster Cult's the name of the band. They're doing Don't Fear the Reaper. It's right here. It's Dan Radio Style.
Seasons don't fear the reaper, nor do the wind, the sun, or the rain.